While it is possible to use an image map to simulate the bumpiness of a surface, a bump map does have its drawbacks. Since it is a rendering trick, the bump effect is only effective and visible at certain angles of view to the bumped surface. This can cause issues with surface elements that are meant to be raised or indented, such as a cast serial number on a part. That will disappear at angles approaching a side-on view. To solve this problem, we can use a displacement map. A displacement map uses the same grayscale image, only in this case, the surface of the object is actually altered. Let's take a moment to see how a displacement map can be used to create a cast part number and symbol on a metal T-pipe intersection. From the Chapter 4 subdirectory, open the file Chapter 4 displacement01.max. This file is a simple T-pipe that has a few basic materials applied to the surface of the object. We're going to apply an additional map to one of the materials in order to create the appearance of some text and a symbol that have been cast into the part. First, we want to open the Compact Material Editor. Click and hold the Material Editor button and choose the Compact Material Editor option. In the Material Editor, select the pipe material. This is a multi-sub-object material that contains the rough paint and brushed metal materials that are applied to the pipe. Click on the material in the ID1 slot named Paint Gray Rough. This is an Arc and Design material that we're going to add a map to that will displace the geometry using a custom map. First, let's render the scene in order to see what the pipe looks like without the displacement map. Make sure the Camera 001 view is active and click Render Production from the main toolbar. Once the rendering is complete, you'll notice there's no defining markings other than a roughened surface. Close the render frame window. In the Material Editor, scroll the Paint Gray Rough panel until you get to the Special Purpose Maps rollout, and open it if it isn't already open. Select Displacement. To add a map, click on the Displacement Map button with the None label. In the Material Map Browser dialog, open the Maps Standard Rollout. From the Standard Rollout, choose the Bitmap option and click OK. In the Select Bitmap Image File dialog, select the Displacement Map PNG file and click Open. This adds the bump map into the displacement channel. Since we want this map to fit the specific mapping coordinates applied to the pipe, make sure the Use Real-World Scale checkbox is not checked. To view the file, click View Image in the Bitmap Parameters rollout. You'll notice that the file is a grayscale file. The white will raise the surface, whereas the black will have no effect. Close the image window. Click Go to Parent to return to the paint material. Click Render to re-render the scene, and notice the geometry has been displaced. However, the result is not quite what we would like. In order to reduce the height of the displacement, set the displacement value to 0.05. Click Render to re-render the scene. The displacement is now at the proper height, but the quality is not very high. In the Render Frame window toolbar, click Render Setup to open the Render Setup dialog. Click the Renderer tab. Scroll the Renderer panel until you see the Shadows and Displacement rollout and open it. The parameter we want to adjust is the edge length. This parameter determines the smallest possible length of a subdivided edge. As this value gets lower, the higher the visual quality of the displaced surface will be. What you sacrifice is processing time and render time. Change the edge length to a value of 0.2, then click Render. Notice that it takes a little longer to process the scene while the displacement is calculated. Once the rendering is complete, You can see that the quality of the displacement has been dramatically improved. The text is easy to read, and the diamond pattern on the threaded section is cleanly displaced. Take a moment and change the camera's position using the camera orbit tool located in the navigation tools at the lower right. Re-render the scene and pay attention to the fact that the displacement is not a trick. The geometry is actually created to match the image and parameters we've used.